Hi everyone, welcome to Beginner Fishing 101, How to Catch a Fish. My name is Ripley. I am the Greenway and Natural Resource Specialist here at NepRWA, and I'm going to show you guys today what materials you need to catch a fish in the watershed. First off, you're going to need a reel, a fishing rod, and fishing line. All of these things I'm going to mention today, you guys can find at Walmart or Bass Pro Shops or online at different places. When you're catching small fish like we're going to catch today, you need very light line. Something like a 8-pound test is optimal for this. Besides those three things, you're also going to need a bobber, which you can see here. This is going to float on top of the water and it's going to bob up and down when a fish is pulling on the line down below. For hook size, again, small fish, small hooks. You need something like, I'll show you right here, like a size 10 or 12 hook, small enough to go in the fish's mouth. All right? In addition to these things, you're also going to need needle nose pliers. These are going to be used to pull the hook out of the fish's mouth after you catch the fish. They're great because they keep the fish safe, and they're also going to keep you safe from the fish's fins that might be a little bit spiky. Let's start catching some fish. All right guys, let's get started. So for bait, I'm going to be using earthworms today. You can use all kinds of insects, grubs you can find in your yard. You can also get earthworms at the store if you can't find them in your yard. And if you don't want to use any insects or worms, you can use this thing called power bait that you can also find at the store. Let's talk about how to cast. All right guys, let's talk about how to cast. Okay, a couple things you need to know. Obviously we're using hooks here, so you need to be extra careful that you're not hooking yourself or a tree or anyone else that's behind you or near you. When you're casting, you first want to hold onto the line with your index finger up against the rod. Then with your other hand, you want to take this metal semicircle called the bail and flip it over. So now the line can go out. When you bring the rod back next, you want to make sure, again, nothing is behind you, no people are behind you. And then when you bring it forward, you're going to release the line with your index finger and follow through so the line goes out like that. All right, so now I'm going to talk about how to get the worm onto the hook. So in order to optimize your chance of a fish biting onto the bait and at the hook at the same time, you want to make sure you have your bait, in this case a worm, through the hook a minimum of 2 to 4 times depending on how big the worm is. This is because if you have too much of the worm hanging off the hook like this, for example, it's easy for the fish to bite onto the worm and even pull it off the hook. And that way you're not going to catch a fish and they're going to get fed. So what you want to do, like I said, wrap it around the hook, stick it through the hook actually, a minimum of 2 to 4 times so that it looks like this. Alright guys, so I quickly want to go over the importance of bobber placement and how to actually put it on your line. So just so you know, there is 2 hooks on the bobber. You have one on the bottom, you can see right here, and you also have one on the top up here. In order to put it on your line, what you want to do is you first want to take your thumb and put it on the bottom hook, and then use your index finger to push down on the top red thing to expose the hook. Then you take your line and you put it right through the hook so it's attached. The bottom hook is even easier to use. All you have to do is just take your index finger again, push down on the red part to expose it, and then you loop your line right onto it like that. So now my bobber is attached to my line in 2 places. So it's also important to know how high up or how low down you want to place your bobber on your line. Depending on how deep the water is that you're fishing in, it's usually good to have your bobber be about 8 inches to 1.5 feet down your line like that. That way the bait you're using isn't too close up here to the bobber and doesn't scare the fish away. All right, let's see if we can catch a fish. Alright guys, so I just caught a sunfish, and an important thing to know is that they have spikes on both their top and bottom fin, and that helps them if something's trying to eat them. It's a good defense mechanism that they have. But obviously you can get spiked when you're taking the hook out. So one important thing you want to do when you're grabbing them is take your hand and go from the top of their body like this and slide it down so that you push all of their spikes down on their fins. Now that I'm holding him, and I'm not holding him too tight, just tight enough where he can't get out of my hand, I'm going to take my needle nose pliers that we talked about earlier. I'm going to grab onto the hook and I'm going to push it back the way it went into his lip, just like this. Ready? Go down and up, down and up. There it goes. So now he's not bleeding at all. He's perfectly fine, and I got the hook out of his mouth. So now we're gonna let him go. And there he goes. So I hope you all found this video useful. If you go fishing in the watershed anytime soon, if you post a photo or the video of the fish on social media, please tag us at NepRWA, and good luck out there.